Willie D Live.
What's up, family? This is a sad, wild, wild west story. We got a 72-year-old grandfather from Los Angeles who tragically lost his life after being boiled alive in a Marriott hotel shower while visiting San Jose, California for his granddaughter's graduation. According to the Daily Mail, Terrell Johnson, a Marine veteran and beloved husband of 54 years, was staying at the Fairfield by Marriott Inn and Suites on May 22nd. After a long 6-hour drive, he decided to take a shower to relax. Sadly, that decision turned fatal. Reports say the water temperature reached nearly 135 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 15 degrees higher than California's legal limit. Johnson's grandson, Deshaun, found him lying partially submerged in the tub with the water still running. The water was so hot that his family could not pull his body out, and they were forced to watch in horror as his skin peeled away from his body. A medical examiner determined that Johnson suffered severe scalding burns on his neck, torso, and other areas, covering about 30% of his body. His family says this was not a freak accident, but a result of gross negligence by the hotel. The family has since filed a wrongful death lawsuit, saying the tragedy left them with nightmares and post-traumatic stress. They described Terrell as a fun and loving man who enjoyed life and adored his grandchildren, especially Trinity and Heaven. Fam, I gotta call a strike, and a ball a ball. This is absolutely tragic. My heart goes out to the family. But I gotta say it. Why not just don't get into the shower? Because typically before people take a shower, they test the temperature. You put your hand. Isn't that like a universal gesture? Like you turn the shower on, and you stick your hand out there and feel the water to make sure, especially when you're using showers that you're unfamiliar with. You go to the hotels, you never know. Sometimes that water be scalding hot. So you want to test it out before you get in there. And sometimes it's be really cold, so you don't want to just jump into a cold shower, right? So you test the water. It seems like there's some missing pieces. There has to be some missing pieces to the story. I read everything that I had on the story. So I don't know, fam. It just something seems off. Perhaps he fell and bumped his head, and that rendered him unconscious, or at the very least, unable to get his bearings together to get up out of there. So maybe something like that happened. And, but that still wouldn't excuse like why the water would be at 135 unless he got in and it was one temperature and it progressed, because that happens a lot, You turn the water on, it takes a moment. It takes a minute for it to kick all the way in. And when it does, sometimes that water be scalding hot. This sounds like a prime lawsuit to me. The family is about to get paid, but I'm sure they would rather have Terrell than the money. 72, that's it's old, but it ain't that old, And, you got people that love him. You got family. I'm sure his grandchildren adored him. He was out there. He drove 6 hours away to visit for his granddaughter's graduation. I ain't got no problem with that. And that's also for all you other grandparents out there who make the drive, you know. It ain't the easiest thing to do once you get up in age hitting that road. But boy, it's something about those grandchildren. Those grandparents come through. So I got to salute all of y'all. I see it all the time. You go to graduations, it's always a beautiful thing when you see those different generations at the graduation and other type of celebrations. You see multiple generations that are all celebrating, congregating, fellowship, and that's a beautiful thing to me. But, you know, this guy, to die the way that he died, and they said the temperatures were so hot that they could see his skin peeling. Can you imagine? And, you know, why didn't he just turn the water off? Like, you know, they said that it was so hot, the water was so hot that they couldn't get him out of the tub. And it was still running. Why didn't you just turn the water off? You know? It just seemed like some missing pieces to the puzzle. And I'm sure that the investigators would get down to, no, I'm not sure. They don't really be investigating, you know. But the insurance company absolutely is going to investigate because they don't want to pay their claim out. So I'm sure they're going to be doing some serious investigating. But they're still going to be liable no matter what, because that water is not supposed to be 135 degrees. I know in Europe, if you go to Europe, they have a system. It's regulated where water at these hotels can only be a certain temperature, and the maintenance people have to go through and check periodically to make sure that water doesn't reach a certain temperature, because, you know, not only, you know, can people die, the hotel will be on the hook for major liabilities. So it's incumbent upon these hotels to make sure that they do regular maintenance to check these type of things, because you don't have to be 72 years old to die in a tub, you know what I'm saying, like that. You don't have to be 72. If you, think about this too, fam, what if like a person has special needs? You turn the shower on, in the beginning everything is okay, and then whoever the person is that's tasked with making sure that that person is okay, perhaps they have a caretaker, right? They turn the shower on, check the water, everything seems to appear to be good, and then they walk out. And then, you know, next thing you know, that person is in there being boiled alive because the temperature, you know, went up. That could happen. You say, well, you know, they would hear the person screaming. Maybe, maybe not. You know, TV could be on loud. They could put some headphones on and got busy on their phone or whatever. All kinds of things. It's all, you know, anything is possible, fam. But this is one of those things. This is one of those things that you cannot ever like imagine or think that could happen to somebody. Being boiled alive. I just knew when I first saw the headline that something nefarious had taken place. I just knew it had to be foul play. Somebody actually, some racist dudes, you know, discovered that he was staying at this hotel in this room or whatever, and they went in there and did this or did that to him. That's what I thought. That's the first thing that I thought, because, and don't judge me, because, you know, they put in a lot of work, you know, they're really loyal about harming black bodies, so don't be looking at me all crazy. I see some of y'all like, hey, what's wrong with this guy? Yeah, nah, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm just calling a strike striking a ball a ball. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. R.I.P. Terrell Johnson. No more talk.